Question 2, I think that's going to be your question on Elon Musk endorsement.
Yeah. So basically, I think many of us, we saw this in X, social network, and I think it was published everywhere that Elon Musk, who previously was kind of more or less neutral until, I don't know, more recent events, but he publicly joined the Trump's rally in Pennsylvania, I guess, and he openly supported him wearing the black MAGA cap, saying that this is going to be my president, go vote. So what do you think? This media, the richest person in the world, openly supports the president, potential president. So do you think his open support, public support, will influence the Trump's results?
As much as I'd like to say that it would or it wouldn't, I think it will have absolutely no impact.
Okay.
And this is for a variety of reasons. So doing some research, and again, I'm American, right? So I've been following this election like a hawk for the past probably over a year. I followed it through the primaries when the Republicans had a primary, the Democrats didn't. Followed it through the summer when you had all this craziness where Joe Biden stepped down. We've got Harris now, all the debates, vice presidential debate. I've been a junkie for this stuff. One of the key and interesting sort of takeaways has been, since Biden stepped down, the stability in the polls, where really almost nothing has shaken the polls whatsoever. That's backed up by data that CNN provided from some polls that they ran, that only 4% of voters polled said they were undecided, which is the lowest number in at least 25 years.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you're dealing with a tiny sample of people who really are undecided. And it sort of makes sense, right? Because who doesn't know Donald Trump by now? Donald Trump's been on the political scene for the last 8 years.
Of course.
You're an American, you have an opinion of him. Good, bad, middle, you have an opinion. The Democrats, you have an opinion. They've been in power for the last 4 years. So all that being sort of considered, I think that's where things stand from that perspective. In addition, if you look at some of the big events that happened recently. So on September 11th, Taylor Swift endorsed the Kamala Harris campaign. Everybody was getting all excited. Oh, wow, look at this. A woman who's got 283 million Instagram followers just endorsed the Democrats. Game over. Everybody's going to come out, register to vote Democrat, and they're going to swamp Trump in the polls. It's over. Do you know what the polls changed by since September 11th?
Okay, surprise me.
Okay, so I don't know if you'll be surprised or not. I assume you will be. Kamala Harris grew her support nationally by 0.8 percentage points, so less than 1 percentage point. She lost ground in the key battleground states by 0.3 percentage points. It had no impact. Taylor Swift and her army of Swifties, her 280 million people, came in, endorsed Harris. What happened? Nothing. Elon Musk comes in, endorses Trump. He endorsed him back in July. I think it was July 13th. He comes in, endorses Trump. What happens? Nothing. I think this election is going to be decided by a combination of things. It's going to be turnout, who actually shows up on election day, how accurate are the polls, and where is the country on the key voting issues for that tiny sliver of people, that 4% of undecideds. So, for example, what is the number one swing state voter issue? It's the economy. 52% say the number one issue is the economy. I really do think, what is the latest economic news in the month of October? Do any sort of major events happen economically? I think that's where the election is going to be decided. Turns out Trump has a 7-point lead when it comes to the economy in swing states. Immigration is the number 2 issue. Trump has a lead on that.
Okay.
Really, it's going to be, in my opinion, does anything major happen in the month of October? To me, that's it. Do we have, global conflict that breaks out, which is a possibility? Do we have an economic event that happens, which is a possibility? Barring all of that, this race has been, I think, surprisingly dull and surprisingly stable. So I say Elon Musk, 0 impact.
Okay.
What's your opinion?
Okay, so in principle, I agree with you, because I don't think that single person, single celebrity's opinion can make a huge difference. However, I have one, I would say, concern about Elon's, let's put it, performance. So when you look at his recent social activity, social network activity, every time he tweets something, every time he publishes something, he affects business. Like one tweet or one post in X. I don't know how to pronounce it now, actually, since they changed the.
It's not a tweet,
name.
I guess. What is it?
It's not an
X, a post?
Exit. I don't know.
You can create that if you want. Sure.
Yeah. So every single post, it affects the Tesla stocks. Like he can put it up and he can pull it down just with one post, and it happened multiple times. And even now, I think by the time of the election, they created the new cryptocurrency. I don't remember how it's called, but like something with black MAGA, this one. So they created
dark MAGA.
Another coin. Yeah, dark MAGA. MAGA. Of course not black MAGA. Yeah, dark MAGA. Something like dark MAGA coin. And when he just appeared on stage wearing the cap, 14% raise. 14% raise of this cryptocurrency. So I think, like, overall, I agree that one person's opinion will not make huge difference, even no matter how influential the person is. But this track record of the small posts influencing the business environment, this is what confuses me, and this is what makes me think that some impact might be made.
So, Vlad, to that point, Elon Musk endorsed Trump on July 13th, right?
Yeah. It was after this issue.
It was, I think, the day after the assassination attempt. And Biden was still the candidate.
Yeah.
I think Trump was leading in the polls by like 4 points on that day when Elon endorsed him. Today, the national polls, so that same poll has Harris up by like 2. So you may say that, and maybe you're right. Maybe the polls aren't picking it up, but the numbers don't say that at all.
Yeah.
So the numbers are saying nothing any of these people do. Oprah comes out and endorses Kamala Harris. They sit down and have a long interview. Nothing happens. The debate happens. For example, I don't know if you watched the debate. I watched the debate. I was up at 5 a.m. to get my fix of.
Really?
Of course, man. I'm American, right? So I gotta watch my politicians having their debate. And what happened? I think it was 2/3 of all voters, or 2/3 of all viewers, said Kamala Harris won the debate. I agree with that, by the way, despite the fact that I will not be supporting her in the election. I think she won the debate, just sort of on the face of it. I think preparation, all that, she outperformed him. All that being said, again, no change in the polls. She's winning debates. They're changing VP candidates. They're bringing new people in. Oprah this endorsement, Taylor Swift this endorsement, Elon Musk going up dancing on stage wearing his dark MAGA hat. Nothing is changing. Economic data up, down, interest rates down, global conflict, global chaos up. The polls aren't moving.
So Americans are being stubborn.
Oh, you can call us stubborn. Fine. Yeah, sure. I agree with that. In principle, we are set with our two candidates. We are set with our two sides. So I think the only thing that's going to make a difference, in my opinion, is if anything major happens in this next month. We typically have something called an October surprise, which is something comes out in October, particularly late in October, that could throw the race at the last minute. And you might see a change in the polls, a material change in the polls, maybe 2 or 3 points. To me, that's the only thing that could jog this race, because otherwise it's going to look like which side turns out, which side is doing better with the polling, because literally this thing is not moving. I'm checking this every day, and it's as stable of an election as I've seen for a while, ever since Kamala Harris got in the race. So you can have your Elon, dark MAGA, Bitcoin, blah, 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 going up 15%. You can have that. You can have your Swifties coming out and endorsing. To me, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
None of it matters.
Tell us more about this October surprise thing.
So, for example, you had 2 October surprises over the last 2 Octobers. Beyond that, I don't have too much. I'd have to look it up. But you had back in 2020 this quote-unquote October surprise that could have been the Hunter Biden laptop story, where you had this laptop that was discovered, which was attributed to Hunter Biden, and then you had that became a media story, particularly with the right wing. And then, but it didn't really make the national waves that people expected. 2016, you had the October surprise where the head of the FBI at the time, I'm trying to remember his name, I forget. But
we will show it here. It's okay.
Yeah, we could show it. But the head of the FBI came out, and I think it was the week before the election. And I remember because it was the first or second week I had moved to the region, to the Middle East. And the head of the FBI came out and reopened, quote unquote, the investigation into Hillary Clinton for the the emails. Anyways.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like confidential emails.
Yeah, there was an issue
leakage.
With her. Yes.
Exactly.
There was an issue with her emails. They reopened the investigation publicly. They made a big announcement to do it the week before the election. If you check the polls, there was a material change in the polls of like 2 or 3 points. And at that moment, I thought, wow, Trump can actually win. So at the time, it looked like Hillary was well on her way. Anyways, that's the concept of the October surprise. Something comes up in October. It can jar the race, change the polls. So that's all we're saying, that it's possible. But that's the only thing I see changing this race, because this has looked, again, whether it's Trump saying they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, whether it's Kamala coming out and having an interview with Oprah, whatever, nothing is changing anything. Nothing's changing the polls. So again, to summarize, I say no impact.
Okay, interesting. Like I think we surprisingly quickly agreed on this.
Yeah.
And
even though in the beginning I don't think we were going to, but I think we came around.
Yeah. And
I want to say I think I convinced you. I don't know if we agree. I think I convinced you to come to my side. Is how I'm going to.
Okay.
Is how I'm going to call it.
Keep it for yourself. Okay.
I'll tell myself that.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Tell it. Okay. Good. I think like it's interesting that even the richest person in the world, like one of the most influential people in general, at least in the business and technical world, cannot impact the Americans' opinion on their candidates. If
Taylor Swift couldn't do it, why do we think Elon Musk could do it?
Yeah, I think this is telling something. This is telling us something.
What is it telling us?
That your guys are being stubborn.
Well,
or maybe too attached to the candidates.
Well, we're going to find out who wins in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Let's see the October surprise. I wonder. I wonder what it's going to be. I wonder what it's going to be.
If there is.